Welcome to the All Systems Go podcast, where we invite startup founders and digital marketers to discuss strategies and software used to build automated marketing and sales systems that scale. I am your host, Chris L. Davis, the founder of Automation Bridge, where we train marketers or place marketers in your business to help you scale by way of automated marketing and sales. And today, on this episode, I have my very own Samantha Pointer Foxx, one of the first certified automation service providers, everybody. Those of you listening, I wish I had a sound effect that just kind of did the
Woo-hoo.
hand clap in the background. But Samantha, she is a certified automation service provider and the owner of Samantha Pointer Enterprises. And what she does is she helps small business owners who don't have time, patience, or the tech know how to automate their marketing and sales online. Why is this important, everybody? This is an extremely important podcast for me because if you're a follower of the podcast, you've heard me mention automation service provider, become an automation service provider. We train digital marketers on how to automate their marketing and sales. But who are the people who are actually saying, yes, I want to do that? I want to become one. So that's what today's episode is. You're going to get get an up close and personal insight to Samantha Pointer, because some of you, Samantha Pointer Fox, some of you should not be touching your automation. You've heard me say this. You've heard me say this. And what I want to use this podcast to do is start to introduce you to some vetted resources, people who I entrust with your business that would operate in a way extremely similar, if not the same, as I would. So, with that being said, Samantha, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me on here. I'm doing great today.
Yes, and thank you for jumping on the podcast and just your dedication. Samantha, you and I met. Whoo, it's been four
It was
years, five.
2016.
Golly, 5 years. Time
Yeah,
is just flying. While at Active Campaign, I had the opportunity to meet up in person in Nashville, right?
Nashville. Yes.
Nashville for the Nashville Study Hall. So all right. So enough about us reminiscing. Tell everybody a little bit about your background and your business, Samantha.
well, hey everyone, I'm Samantha Pointer Fox, Samantha Pointer Enterprises. I actually have been in business since 1997.
Mm,
Very long time. And I did not start off as doing all this marketing automation stuff. I actually started off as a professional organizer,
mm,
meaning I went into your home and cleaned the clutter, organized your files, all of that. So that's how I got my start and ran that business for a long time. Then I went into web design and did that for about 10 years. And then I moved over into organizing digital files. And it's like been a
mm.
progression into jumping into automation, mainly because starting out way back when a one page website was like 10 to 20K. I had to learn to do it myself because I was bootstrapping stuff. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, that's my background. That's how I got here. Got interested in marketing and started studying more on that. And I found you at I think it was at a conference
Yeah. Epic.
that
Epic
April,
Con.
yeah, was
Yeah.
doing in Dallas,
Yep.
and I was like, "What? He's speaking my? Who is this?" And I asked one the girl sitting next to me. She's like, "Oh, you don't know who that is? Oh, you got to meet him."
Yes, and I will say that action. I mean, you took immediate action. I think we had a call like right after I had finished
Yes,
speaking on the stage, and you've been one of those people that just, you see it, that's what I want to do, and then you go. So hats off to you. Now, one of the operative words that I hear, and it's in the title of your website as well, is organizing. And we're going to talk about it a little later, but the importance of organizing your digital files. I think
yes,
I think there are some people, I've met a lot of entrepreneurs, and very rarely is their workspace organized,
no.
right? But for those who do honor and value that, you just operate just at a higher level of clarity, peace of mind, efficiency. My wife does home decor, so she's going into houses, making them feel like a home, and the person is just like, oh my god, it's almost like an emotional experience.
It is.
And I have to say, it is one of the most underserved and least spoke about assets, or I should say facets of online marketing, is how are your files organized? I can't tell you how many people's desktop I see, and you can't even see the background. It's just
Right.
files, and there's tools, by the way, that you can use to automate your desktop. Maybe I'll share one or so. But I really wanted to hone in this episode on the organization and automation, because I feel like when you're organized, it makes the automation just that much more better,
It
right?
does.
So
It
we'll get into that. But first, let's just start from the very beginning. As you mentioned, hey, I was doing organizing in person, then I
does.
moved to digital, and now I'm in automation. What did that transition look like? Because I know you didn't think from your organizing business, I want to just go do this in marketing. I
No. I was
so
strictly
right.
marketing for myself.
Right? You were trying to get your business out.
Yes.
And at that point, because a lot of what I hear, Samantha, is a lot of times people think that I've got to get everything together before I get into a program like this. Talk about where you were before you jumped into the program, and some of those factors that you said, you know what, I've got to, if I want to get to the next level, I'm gonna have to do this, and I'm willing to jump in.
Well, I've always been the type, like, I will spend what I have to spend to get. I want the best. I want to go to the person who's doing, not somebody who just says they're doing it but no
Yes.
results. But I want to go to the person who's really doing it, and I can see that they're doing it. At that time, like, I was not making a ton of money,
Yep. Yep.
but I knew that, okay, if I want to make this happen, how many people do I have to work with to get this money up to do
Hmm.
this? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Hmm.
So that's where I had to change that mindset, to, like, if I invest in this, yeah, it's a big investment, but look what's going to come out of it. You
Yeah.
can't be afraid of that. And a whole lot of mindset work with a coach, and
Yep. Yep.
uh, all of that. But you know, systems just in my own life have saved me. My
Mhm.
business would have shut down several different times over this long span if I didn't have stuff organized and in place in my business, stuff automated.
Yeah.
So there was like a time of, deaths in my family, divorces, uh, homelessness, all
Mhm.
these different things that can derail a business. And if you're just the one man band, but you're not, you don't have no systems in place, or you're waiting till you hit that big rush of money coming in, like, your business will be closed. So
Yeah.
that's where I was when I was like, I have to get in this program because I know this is where I want to go.
Yep.
And this is the person I need to learn it from,
Yes.
out there. So yeah, I
Yeah,
just had to
spot
make the
on.
investment.
Oh, man, I love it. I think a few episodes back, I recorded a podcast entitled "What Happens When Life Happens," or life shows
Yes.
up, and this is spot on. I mean, we all have, tomorrow is coming.
Hmm.
God willing, tomorrow is coming for everybody listening, and who knows what it has to hold.
Right.
And I just think that sometimes entrepreneurs are so focused on revenue and money and making more, that they forget, like, hey, look, this body is finite. There's
Hmm.
finite amount of energy a day. There's
Right.
finite amount of brain capacity, finite amount of breath that I can breathe in this body. And what the systems do is, one, not only does it protect that energy so you don't have to exhaust it all the time, but it also ensures that that energy that's used once
Hmm.
can be replicated.
Right.
many times again
Yes.
and give you that insurance. I just can't imagine, Samantha, uh, running a business without it. So for you, you've been in business for quite a few years. I've had the privilege of being able to refer business to you. You've always done a great job with taking care of the clients. Never had a negative experience or bad review. And we've been doing this for a while. This was back before the automation service provider
Yeah.
program was called the automation
Yeah, the
service
mentorship.
provider, right? So we've got some legacy, old school throwback experiences. So now that you are where you are, I want you to help the listeners. There's somebody listening that needs help. Who is that avatar? Now I know automation can be applied to anything, right?
Right.
But when you look at your Rolodex of clients and you look at the big wins and the not just the big wins, the times that you've enjoyed the most,
Mhm.
doing the work. What would you say that avatar is so that person listening can say, "Oh my gosh, she's it. She's who I've been looking for."
For me, it's been that business owner, that owner who has a team, who has employees, but are
Mhm.
still doing everything themselves because they know everything. All their processes are trapped in their head. It's
Mhm.
not organized
Mhm.
anywhere. And
Mhm.
the big vision type owners who like they have the vision. I know what I want it to look like and I'll go learn how to do it, but you really don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
Um, a couple of my um, clients are in marketing, do this for others, but their stuff isn't up to par because it's the cobbler
Mm.
who doesn't have shoes syndrome. So
Yep.
I
Yep.
like to come in and help you do for you what you're doing for your clients. Make
Yeah.
your stuff look as good as your clients because it shouldn't be that way.
Yep.
So I really enjoy working with those business owners, and then just the professional services business owners who provide a service, whether that's in the medical field or whatever, who really don't have time to do any marketing, but
Yeah.
you need marketing and
Yeah.
you need automated systems that run in the background, because if you're servicing a client you don't have time for that. And
Absolutely.
and of course I have a couple of coaches that I help too. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the span, just that small business owner who is, they're not very tech savvy, and some are very tech savvy to their
Mhm.
detriment and
Yeah.
don't need to be touching their stuff
Yeah, to
because
their
you get
detriment.
so many ideas and you get on a tangent, and then I have to come in and untangle all that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you need that help, someone, a fresh set of eyes to look at it and to bring your vision to life.
Yeah, and I love how you talked about the marketer who needs marketing in place for themselves.
Hmm.
And I love that avatar one because I think every marketer fits that.
Yeah.
Every marketer, you're scrappy, you're doing whatever you need to do, and then you get to the point where you're like, "You know what? Although I could keep doing this, I'm actually better off bringing someone in to do it." And a lot of times that path is like a VA or somebody else, and there's a lot of training
Hmm.
that's required. Whereas as a certified automation service provider, you come in and the only training that's needed is, "Hey, catch me up to speed with your processes."
Right. Right.
Nope, I got it. Infusionsoft, know how to use it. Active
Hmm.
Campaign, back pocket.
Exactly.
HubSpot, Entrepreneur, don't worry your little brain. Don't not little. Don't worry your marketing mind. How about that?
Right.
Don't
I
worry.
got the
Don't
tech tool
worry.
covered.
We got it. So, in a lot of people, and one of the reasons why I do what I do is because a lot of people have not experienced that. Most of the time, the marketer is so far ahead of who they hire, it becomes a burden just thinking about getting them up to speed. You
Right.
know,
Right.
so
And they don't
somebody
have
like
time.
you, yes, they don't have time for it, right? Even if they're willing.
Hmm.
Samantha, they start out thinking like, "Okay, I know I need to do this. I need to replicate myself." And they do have the willingness. But
Yes.
when they see the time that's involved, they're just like,
They don't.
"Okay."
Because you're off to the next thing. There's
You're off
there's
to the
no
next
time.
thing.
You need somebody who can hit the ground running with the strategy, help you get the strategy together that you're wanting, and
Yep.
then build the strategy.
Yeah, and there's no again, there's no shame as a I think it's a sign of growth.
Oh yeah.
When a marketer says, "Okay, I've taken this ship as far as I can. I I want to go rest for a little bit. Can you grab the wheel here? Can you navigate us to land? There's I think it's a growth spot, a opportunity that is often missed. So I love that avatar. And then of course I love the service based, the brick and mortar,
Mhm.
because they you talk about don't have time. E-
None.
even if your business was really you get delegated staff to do most of the stuff, you say, "Hey, look, I've got free time." It should not be spent learning marketing.
Something new. No.
Y y Samantha, if you look at the amount of experience that you have, it would take them like 20 years plus just to come to maybe half. Because in that 20 years, you would have evolved
Right.
and more. It's just like, listen, bring somebody in that can sit down at interview you, right? To get the
Mhm.
process out and then make the process real. I think the operative word in both avatars is team.
Yes.
And when you come into a team setting, you're able to not just apply automation for the sake of, generating money through leveraged efforts, but also streamline the operations for the people existing.
Yep,
So
yep.
it's not just the CEO that's like, thank you. It's the operations manager, it's the
Mhm.
copywriter, the designer, because now there's this system that streamlines everything. So, with that in mind, I want to talk about some of the odd automations, I'll call them. But these are automations that you've used to organize files. We've Samantha, listen, we've heard about sending an email and drip feed in
Yeah.
a goal to stop and turn off those automations and then apply a tag and that gives them login access. We can do that for days. But what I find very unique about you is you're able to not just organize files, but also identify the tools because you just wrote a blog post. You just wrote a marketing automation report on the site, and it talked about that journey of listen, I needed to organize files, and Zapier just didn't work. This is a different conversation, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so what are some of those odd automations that you started out thinking, let's start with marketing? Then you're like, you know what? We're going to need some organization. I'm going to need to bring some tools in to organize these files, whether it's moving a file, renaming a file. What are some that come to mind for you?
I mean, again, I always start with myself, what I needed. I got tired of the different tech tools I was using,
Mm,
having to go in manually and create all that stuff. And I'm
yeah,
running into more business owners that, okay, when I onboard somebody, I have to set up these files here, and then I have to set up these files here, and then they
yeah,
need to get these documents here, and you know, and
yeah,
and and human error is real. So I'm
man.
like, let's see how we can automate this.
Yes.
So I mapped out how to automate, like, just getting files set up once a client pays and is onboarded. Everything
Mm,
from they sign a contract to now it automatically populates 4 different places and sets that stuff up automatically. So it's there,
mm,
ready for you to just put the stuff in. I
yeah.
I built an automation for myself of when a contract, you send the contract out when it gets signed to automatically put it in the right folder for me, the signed one.
Yes. Mm,
So I don't have to go find the email, download it myself, and all that.
mhm,
So I always think efficiency. How can this be easier? How can this be more efficient? How can I cut out steps? Because as an organizer, we was always taught to only touch paperwork once, twice at the most.
mm,
So
mm.
you got to figure out a way of how can I only do this step once or twice, and it's done without me having to keep revisiting this every time. So
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Now I'm gonna jump in and add some of my odd automations and an odd tool and an odd tool like that. I didn't
mhm.
plan on it, but we're in this flow. One is exactly what you mentioned: the creation of documents and spaces. So I'm starting to integrate more and more with ClickUp. That's my project management tool of preference. ClickUp and Airtable. Samantha, this is a dangerous combo.
It really
There
is.
the amount of automation that can take place between those 2 to get things done on the back end. Back end
Mhm.
operations, nobody sees it, but they see the result of it. It's truly amazing, but I wanna mention this tool. It's called Hazel. I don't think I've ever talked about this tool, Samantha. It's called Hazel, and it automates pretty much your desktop,
Oh,
right?
nice.
I think maybe Mac Automator could do it. I don't know. I'm not that savvy with Mac. I know this tool does it. So I have one platform in specific that will not let me dictate what folder the output goes into. So
Mm,
what this Hazel does is I set it up to run at midnight every day, and it looks in that folder for a new folder, and it moves it into my drive folder so that
nice.
my team and everybody has access to it. And you would think, Chris, that's so simple. But me having to remember to do that,
Yes.
just one time forgetting means that that entire pipeline is
Mhm.
reliant on a file being moved, Samantha.
Yes.
Right? Like if this file isn't moved and it's on my computer
Mhm.
because I'm the one generating. So it's not like somebody can log in remote and if they could, why? This
Right.
tool will do that for me. So that's one. And then two, as I mentioned, I hate seeing the desktop. Like I have a picture on my desktop. I like looking at my desktop picture. That's why it's my picture. So I can see it.
I tell people, "Hey, hide it until
Right.
you organize it."
Right. Right. There's keyboard shortcuts, right? Just
Yes.
hide everything. So now with the same tool, every day I think it is, it runs and says, "Hey, have you opened this image?" If
Mhm.
not, it puts it in a folder and it just automatically cleans my desktop. Now, if I'm taking a screenshot or if I'm downloading, I don't even have to think about, oh, okay, I need to clean up my desktop. It cleans it up for me. And then the next level, this is the same tool, the folder that it moves into starts a 30-day countdown. So if
Mhm.
I don't use that file in 30 days, I probably don't need it. And it just deletes it.
That's so
And
smart. Automatic cleaning.
right. It cleans up everything, sorta like I do my list, but it's just the more comfortable you get with automation, the
Mhm.
more you realize I can streamline and make
A lot of
all of
stuff.
my business efficient,
Right.
right? Like my entire business, and, it made me think of there was a time where, automation was so like and I guess you could argue even to this day, there's still some education required,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it's definitely more widely accepted. But it used to be if you could send an email and stop sending that email when someone does something, like that was kind of like amazing. And I remember tools like AW Pro Tools back when I was using Aweber was the
Mhm.
only platform that could do it, and then Get Response and all of these things. So now as people get more mature and they have more expectations for their marketing and automation, are you finding in your experience and with the clients that you're working with that you are starting to tap into more of the operational back end side of automation and not just so much heavily marketing and sales?
I'm definitely tapping more into the back end because that's usually the most disorganized part. The
Yeah.
client onboarding, the remembering the little task of who should do what when.
Yep.
Uh, it made me think of another automation I had built because I use ClickUp too.
Hmm.
Where when somebody books a discovery call, not only does it send me a Slack message to let me know, but in case I didn't see it there, it also sends me a message and creates a task for me to do my due diligence in ClickUp.
Mm.
So there's no way
Yeah.
I'm gonna show up on the call not knowing what we talking about or what's going on. you know,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
those little things like that makes your VAE or whoever you have doing those things not pull their hair out, makes
Yeah.
their job easier, makes them do their job better. Is these little back end operational things you can set up. Um, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and I will say mature businesses know this, Samantha. Mature businesses know how important operational efficiency is. And watch this. Uh Older businesses, that have been around maybe 10, 15 years or more, also have heard numerous complaints from their team about
Yes.
certain processes, certain things that just don't work. And there's a good example is you may have somebody who is tech savvy. That
Mm,
means they understand technology, they're not overwhelmed with it. You may even have somebody on your team that's good at operations and
mhm.
process, but it takes a unique skill to blend the both of them, right? The
Together,
tech
yes.
savviness and process to create the system. And this is why automation service providers exist, because you can find the elements that make up an automation service provider in individuals,
Mhm.
right? Those elements are in individuals, but we combine them all
Together.
into one person. So it's very rare. If you've got a digital marketer, they may not know marketing automation or back end operational
Right.
automation, right? You may have online business manager that's all about operations, light on tech,
Mhm.
right? Integrating the softwares. This whole is present in
Yes.
every business, and it's my honor to be able to say, yes, you are certified. So tell the listeners in closing what went behind your decision in becoming certified. Because I'll say this before you answer. I am not a person that chases certifications,
Right.
right? If the certification is going to teach me something, right, and it
Mhm.
has weight in the marketplace, then yes, I'll do it. But I'm not the person who starts a business and then goes and searches for a certification. So, in creating this certification, I did my due diligence. I talked to people from Microsoft who had created certification for Microsoft. My OBM is a teacher. I talked to other people with certifications in the marketplace, just like, look, I want this to mean something.
Mhm.
This is not gonna be just another badge. These people are gonna be vetted, and you've gone through the
Yeah.
process.
Yes.
It
Not
is
a
not
cakewalk.
right. You do not just pay money and answer some questions and you're certified, but talk to just let the listeners know what your intention behind the certification was, and what really drove you to say, you know what, I want to put this badge on.
Well, to me, I know the level of service I want to bring to my clients.
Yeah.
I want to bring them the best. I want them to be up to speed. I don't want them to have to worry about keeping up with the latest whatever, or is this
Hmm.
right for my business, or
Yep.
should I be moving over to here, or just listening to whoever said what in what Facebook group or whatever.
Yes.
uh, I wanted to be the one because I love learning. I love, trying out new stuff. I love technology. That's like my jam. Um,
Yep.
so I wanted to always be learning, and I wanted the person I'm learning from to always be learning and
Yeah.
showing new ways of doing things, more efficient ways, not just saying, hey, this is how I've been doing it for 20 years, so this is how it's going to be, and I don't want to hear
Right.
nothing different. Like,
Yep.
that's what I love about you is you're open. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. Let's try this. And
Yeah.
so that's what I was looking for. Someone who just knew what they were doing and had the receipts to back that up that,
Yeah. Right.
that this works. And I was looking for a system that I could also make my own and put in place for my clients to help them win. And so that's why I went through the certification process. I took this just as serious as if I went and got a master's or a doctorate, because that's what it felt
Yeah.
like going through it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I you know I'm proud to wear that certification badge, because I don't run out the certifications either.
Yeah.
Or I'm not the type of believe you have to have this to know what you know. But
Yeah.
this was something like, I know I'm gonna continue to grow in this. I'm with the best of the best, and this is so needed right now. This is so needed in the
Absolutely.
marketplace, and I just didn't want to be just that person, another marketer out there, just
Yep.
who spun you a tool just because I'm getting commissions off of that or something. So
Yep.
I wanted. to marry all my loves, organizing, technology,
Yeah.
processes, procedures, all
Mm.
that together. And, and whew, here you go.
Yes, yes, I love it, and you've done a great job. I have to say it's been great just seeing the progression that you've made. One of the a lot of people go and they search for revenue. They're like, "Are you a millionaire? This is that." But there's so much more. Like the fact that you're not single, you have a family,
Yes.
right? Like there are
Yes.
times you have to take your children to the doctor, drop them off at
Hmm.
school, pick them up,
Yep.
and for you to be able to build a business in a way for over the span of multiple years,
Hmm.
and it's not going to end anytime soon
No.
because your business is just growing. That is one of the largest achievements because I was just talking to somebody who was making 75,000 a month and this and that. He's like, but it's not leveraged, Chris. I
Hmm.
don't have time with my family. I don't have this. I don't have that. So I look at things different. I want the money and the time.
Right.
Don't make me choose
I want to
between.
enjoy the money, not be stressed and sick and have to use that money to
Yes,
pay for my
yes,
doctor or whatever. Like it's
absolutely.
you don't want to be stressed and you don't want to lose your family over the work. No work is that it's not worth that. And it's
Yes.
not worth that to me. Everybody doesn't want to be a millionaire. Everybody
Hmm.
has their own number of what they need to hit to feel comfortable
Yep.
and give to the world. And
Yep.
that's what they should focus on. But time
Absolutely.
and, you can never get that back.
Yeah, and so the longevity that you've experienced in business is attributed, of course, to your willingness to invest, your always learning mentality, and your openness to change your mindset. Ev- Even in the back, I see your sign and it says mindset shift, higher technology, right?
Yes.
It's like these are small things that the average eye may overlook, but this is the secret sauce to success.
Hmm.
I don't have anything up my sleeve. There's no magic cards to this thing, right? It's like this is what you do. You invest, get connected. I'm shameless plug, but I don't know a person besides my mentor, perhaps, and maybe I've even exceeded that, that is in the space of marketing automation daily.
Right.
Samantha, you're in the community, you're in my accelerator. Like we talk about new tools all the time.
All the time.
Karonda just shared one,
I know,
right? And I
right?
was
I'm
like,
like,
hey,
oh my goodness.
so where else are you going to stay up to speed with all of the technology, especially as fast as it moves? So with that being said, everyone, this is why she is who she is. This is why Samantha is on the podcast because she's not just another marketer out there. There is some unique attributes that she has, some unique skills that your business probably has been in need of for some years.
Yes.
you know so with that being said, Samantha, if somebody wants to reach out to you, by the way, all of the certified automation service providers are in our directory on our website. So that link is always in the podcast show notes. Regardless of who you listen to, you can always say, "Hey, I heard that. Let me go hire somebody who can do that." But if people want to reach out to you individually directly, what's the best place for them to go?
The best place is to go to organizingguru.com/SPE links. And that will give you all the links to learning to work with me, booking a strategy call, my freebie, everything. All I
Yes,
have to offer, you can go there.
great, great. So that's
Guru
organizingguru.com, SPE as in Samantha Pointer Enterprises,
links.
links, SPE links. We'll have that link in the show note as well. Samantha, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. It's greatly appreciated. Again, everybody, Samantha is in the first batch of certified automation service providers. I look forward to having 20, 50 more episodes with more certified folks. If you need to skip the line, don't go on Fiverr.
Please
Don't go
don't.
on Upwork. Nothing against any of these freelancing websites. Samantha has worked with me closely for at least 9 months, in her case, years.
Mhm.
Years. So if you've been trying to really get a hold of this automation space, You have a trusted resource in Samantha Pointer Fox. Her link is going to be included in these show notes. Again, Samantha, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. It's great to meet and have you officially in this capacity now, too. I think we've
Yes.
completed everything,
Right.
right? Except for maybe share
Full
the stage,
circle.
right? So, with that being said, thank you again, Samantha. Greatly appreciate it. I'll see you online in many facets
Yes.
and capacities after this. So, I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.